Hello YouTube, yes I am back and I'm doing another pagan based video today. So I think I said in one of the other two videos, maybe or at least the last three of the pagan based videos of the series I've started doing on paganism and my reasons for using it and being pagan and whatnot. I believe I did say that I would start doing some tool based videos. Now depending on what time I've got, if I can, I will do at least two tools in the one video. I think in one of the other ones of the previous two videos, I did mention all of the tools from a list that I had. But I will go through them from the list. Now, the real list I wrote out, it was easier for me to remember it. So again, like the 7 elements of nature and some other things, I have done them in alphabetical order, because it was just a much more easier way for me to remember those. So the first thing I'm going to do to bless this video, so that the pantheon and the higher powers that I use, which I have said before, is the Greek gods and goddesses from Greek mythology that the ancient Greeks used to believe in. So I'm just going to light the incense for a minute. And I'm going to be going quickly onto another room also, because I do have more than one of these particular tools. So I'm going to be lighting 2 lots of incense, and I will tell you what they are when I move the camera to for me to light the videos on both altars. Well, you may see, so you will see probably both altars. So that's not too bad. And the first altar, I'm going to show you out of the two, which is the tools we are going to talk about today. And the first tools that we're going to talk about today. On the first altar in my living room, which is part of my windowsill as well, so I've made that part of my altar. I have an incense I have an incense burner, a thing to burn it in, which is designed to be like a dragon. And the incense has a dragon theme, and it's called Dragon's Beauty. And I know you can't smell it, but to me it smells very beautiful, and it smells a bit lavendery and maybe a bit other sort of flowers that I quite like roses and maybe other flowers as well. So there is a bit of a sort of rosy or lavendery kind of smell to it, but it's a lovely smell if you like those kind of flowers. If you don't, well, you know. But I'm here at my home, and this is the incense I've chosen to light for this part of the video. So I'm just going to take my iPad off charge, because this is how I'm doing these videos these days, on my iPad, just so I can light the other incense for you and show you me doing that and telling you what it is. So you can see me doing it, because actually I've got another altar, and it's a lot further down. So I may actually try and bring the camera actually closer probably. Let's just see that now. Let's have a look at... that's not very good. I will have to somehow find a way... Actually, no, that's actually better. What I've done is I've put the camera... at least my iPad on the floor here, because you can actually see the altar better. So although I'm not going to be in the shot of me actually lighting the incense, at least my face isn't, you are going to get to see it be lit, like you didn't on the other video, the other incense being lit. Now obviously I don't want to try and keep these videos for too long, or make them too long. Now this one is frankincense. Yes, it is an original incense. It is an oil as well. And it was apparently, according to the birth of Jesus, supposed to be one of the incense oils he was given by the supposedly 3 wise men. But you can get it as a single. I mean, you can get it as a joint incense with myrrh, even as an incense stick. And you can also get it as a separate incense, as I've just proved to you. Because the incense, the box that it came in, says that it's in frankincense on its own. And it's an incense I've wanted to have on its own. Like myrrh, quite a while. I have had them as incense sticks before, as both, just together. They were both, well, you know, if you know your Christmas myth, you should know that now. So let's go into what this video is about then. So it's about our tools. Now I'm just going to have to get my reading glasses for a minute. I probably may have to clean them, although they are in my glasses case. They may be a wee bit dusty. So if you notice, I went a bit Irish/Scottish, and that's because Scots have a little, an interesting word for saying small or short, and it's called wee. Spelled W in English at least, spelled W, yes, W-double-E. And it is a word that means little or small or short, or very little stature. Now, I am actually, and there is a reason for me using that a lot. It's also it's a Celtic word, really, I should say. Now I'm not part Irish, but I am part Scottish via my paternal grandmother, who is 100% pure Scottish. So that's why I tend to use that, and sometimes maybe her accent will come out in my own voice a little bit. And of course her mother-in-law, my paternal great-grandmother, of course, who is half Welsh. So although she sounded very posh, there was now and again there was a little bit of a Welsh accent that would come out, and sometimes again it too also comes out in myself. So there are the rest of me, of course, is completely 100% English. Because my maternal grandfather, my mother's father, was from Essex, so very southwest, very southern, further up, and very London. So very typical kind of. If you've ever watched the Only Way is Essex, which is actually set where my maternal grandfather originally came from, then, or if you ever watched the very still popular, I believe, BBC soap called EastEnders, then that's the kind of accent that I grew up with my paternal grandfather, who I love very dearly. Anyway, let's get into, let's try and get out of what the, and sometimes the bit of the London accent does come out, as I call it. So anyway, let's get into the video and what we're going to talk about a bit more. So, the list is quite a long list, and I do not want to take all night to read you the entire list, obviously, but the list I've got goes from A, basically, to W, so not A to Z, but A to W. So, and the total tools I've got in here listed goes from 1 to 26. So, and the first two tools are listed as the altar and the altar cloth. I'm just going to bookmark this a minute because it's a notepad now. It's one I use a lot for these kind of things, and I need to make a constant note. Also, I do have a bookmark. I'm just going to go and get it. Okay, scratch that. I'm not going to use a bookmark because it seems that I don't have one to actually use, which when I thought I did. Clearly I do not. Never mind. Anyway, so the first tool, as I said, out of the list, the first two are the altar and the altar cloth. So what is an altar? Good question. Firstly, it is not spelt altar as in alter ego, which is spelt, which I will show you here on the video. So I get another I have another pad. I'm going to use an A4 pad to write these words down and how you spell them. Now I'll write it in capitals for everybody because that way they can see what I've written and they can understand my handwriting. Because it seems that I'm the only one, mostly 9 times out of 10, who can understand my own handwriting when it comes to... So this is the difference between the two words. As you can see, alter ego, so that particular word alter is spelled A-L-T-E-R. And then also you've got the word ego, which is E-G-O. Now, the altar we're talking about in the magical and ritual and ancient sense and whatever spiritual sense you talk about here, we're using this spelling here, the secondary one, which is underneath, which is spelled A-L-T-A-R. And that is really effectively the difference between the spellings of the two words altar and altar. They do have a different spelling. And I've shown you that just so if you're new to paganism or you're new to what the tools are and you haven't really kind of established what all the different tools are that other pagans may or may not talk about, and you're not sure of the spellings, because sometimes obviously YouTube does not always, even if you are a British or English speaking sounding person, there are different variations of English. There's the American English, the American and Canadian English. Then again, there's the Australian and New Zealand English, and of course, then there's the British English, which is the original English. Just so you know. Now that obviously is the original proper English. Even then, sometimes the subtitles or closed captions, as YouTube calls them, they are not always. They are not very good at distinguishing between American English, for example, and UK English, because there are differences in spelling words and so on. Some words are spelled exactly the same, but some words are not. And that is where people from different countries, especially such as maybe Spain or France or Italy or other places like that, can get confused between the different variations of English. Anyway, before I get completely sidetracked and not go off track of what we're actually talking about. So the first tool we're looking at is the altar. And I've got two examples here that I will show you. In some part of the beginning part of the video, you did see one. And this is the one I've done in my living room. So as you can see, the windowsill is part of it, as well as, actually, if I go back a bit, you can probably see it better. You may not be able to. That's the first part. So there's a couple of things in my window. If I go up to my windowsill as well, there's a few other things in my windowsill. I might have to go down for you to see. You've got a statue of, which I don't think you can see very well because of that crystal ball. Oh yes, no, you can see it perfectly fine. So there's a statue of Zeus there, who is the king of all, or the ruler of all the entire Greek gods and goddesses, even the Titans. So he is the king. He is their master and their leader, I suppose. Even though there's Gaia and of course, obviously Chaos or Uranus. There is if I can get in the right side of this, there is a cauldron, which I'm going to have to go down here to properly show you. Next to that, obviously, is if you know your Doctor Who, you'll know what this object is, which, as you can see, is a TARDIS console. It's a toy working one. I'm not going to have it working. This grey thing here is my curved curved pointy hat that all wizards wear. It's their Gandalf Ithic, from the Lord of the Rings, but it is what it is for a wizard. Obviously, as you saw below the Zeus statue, there is a wand here, which is another tool. A lot of these tools, including the crystal ball and some other things, you can either have standing around the altar, or you can have them actually on the altar itself. So this is the further part, and as you can see, we've got a statue of, if I can get it to go down far enough, we've got a statue of Pan. Obviously in front of that, quite far close to the front here, we've got a dragon incense burner. Next to Pan, we have a goblet, which, if you can see it properly, has the face of the Green Man on it, and a bit... some other tools there as well, some other wands and things, and it's very dragon specific, obviously, because I've kind of decorated that way. As you can see, things as we kind of go further down in the here. So yes. So there. So that's just one altar. I'm going to also then take the camera to my bedroom again and show you the other altar, which obviously, as you saw, is different. It's got a slightly different look to it. Obviously, now there is my other curved pointy hat. That's all again a wizard's hat. We've got a few other things here, such as like, if I can get the camera to go that low, some, I think you can't see them very well, but some tarot cards. Again, we have a staff. This one's obviously got a broom, which I will use for the IDs around and by the other altar as well. Got some lovely incense sticks here. So there's Gandalf. There's an image of Gandalf there. It's a birthday card that I was kind of asked, well, not asked, but ended up buying because it looked so nice. If I just bring it all in view, It is Gandalf as he appears in the first part of The Lord of the Rings and or The Hobbit, the actual books, and obviously the films. Again, you saw some stars here as well. Again, you know, there's some stars here, which I know they're very right into my washing thing. And here's the altar itself, or at least the top parts of it. So there's a lot for you to see. Now on this, again, I've got some wands, and there's something covering this one. I like the other one. So what is that then? What is the covering? And that's the difference. Obviously, now that is the difference between how the two altars are, of course, obviously decorated. So it is a privilege to, excuse me, get my little prop thing that keeps my phone from, my iPad even, from dropping and falling back too far, is not playing ball. So anyway, so there's the two differences between the two altars. And then obviously we have what we call the altar cloth. Now this is our second tool, and as you saw from the altar in my bedroom, that is quite literally a piece of cloth that allows you to kind of cover your altar and, you know, stop if the incense is fall out of the incense burner. There are going to be absolutely no burn marks getting on the altar. And you might get some burn marks, perhaps maybe in or on the actual altar cloth itself, which, just so you know, the spelling of altar cloth, which is, as you can see, ALTARCLOTH. Obviously, there is a small space between the two words, because although it's one tool, they are two separate words, but you can write them together in the one sentence. So anyway, so yes, now you may get some burn marks on the altar cloth, and they might and sometimes the burn marks can go and make a bit of a hole in the altar cloth. Sometimes that does happen. Now I don't have enough cloth-like material to use to cover the other altar. So how do you get around? Well, and sometimes altar cloths are not just used to actually cover the altar itself and protect it from being burned when you burn the incense, whether it's incense sticks, cones, or oil. Sometimes it can be that you have to use the altar cloth to actually hide your altar. And there are other ways to hide your altars from those you do not wish to see them, perhaps family members who might be religious, or maybe just, you know, or atheists or something, or just, you know, people you just rather you did not see your altar at all. So again, as I said, an altar cloth can be used to hide your altar if you wish, or just cover it because you like it to be covered for whatever reason. I mean, some altars might be like a little cupboard, or a little wardrobe or something, which you may have a door, which it may not have a viewing area, like a bit of glass in the middle. So it may be all panelled out in wood. So you know, it might be an actual, like a closed out wardrobe or something. And some altars are what we call shoebox altars. Now, so what are shoebox altars? Well, they are a box that shoes come in, whatever type of shoes they might be. That's what they came in, or at least a lot of shoes when you brought them. And what are these? Again, they're like an altar cloth, but they're even better because they're small and you've got a small lid, you know, to cover it, and you can decorate them how you like as well. So you can wrap a bit of, say, wrapping paper around them, or you can also, my living room light was getting on there, except for my kitchen light, just so I can see the time of how long the video's been going for. Anyway, backtracking. So yes, and I mean, you can even leave them as bland and as boring, as plain and as they were as the shoebox they were when you originally got them as a shoebox, when you had the shoes put in them. I mean, you do not have to, but you can use them in that way. And also, you can also again, you can put the lid on and put all the things of your altar inside again, and you can use the lid to colour. And again, because it's a box, once you put the lid on it, it is a box, but once you put the lid on, it becomes a full box. Then again, you can kind of put the altar away as well, like in a drawer or a cupboard or a wardrobe or something, and then cover it with some things underneath it or something. So there are so many different types of altars as well. I mean, even a windowsill can be an altar, as you saw from the first couple of parts of this video. And also, not just can the windowsill itself be an altar, but it can be, as you saw from some of the beginning parts of the video, again, a windowsill can also be part of the altar, which is what I've done obviously here in my living room and or kitchen, because the way this flat is designed, it is technically really a bed sit, although the bedroom, obviously, as you know, is separate from the living room. And there's a separate hallway, and of course, obviously, there is a separate, but the only room that is not separate is the kitchen and living room. They're literally two rooms in one. Different to my other apartment, where you will see those other lady characters that I have as an impersonated and dressed up as, would have done some of the earlier videos in. The kitchen and living room, again, they were two separate rooms, but they were divided by a little step, which is really handy. Obviously, in this apartment, I am in the top floor flat, and again, it's completely different, and it is a smaller apartment, so it is a little different. And again, the bathroom is separate, and it is annoying because it feels like I'm still in a homeless hostel in a sense, where I have to share the bathroom with my neighbour, and they've put it in the most stupidest place of all, the hallway. Now, if they all made these all self-contained flats, one flat for each floor, so one flat on each floor, so one ground floor flat, one middle floor flat, and one top floor flat, that would be more sensible, and I would not have to share a bathroom, and I would not get annoyed. Anyway, besides, I'm getting a bit sidetracked into things. So there are, now, I do have still plenty of time, according to my iPad, for this video, but I'm just going to talk about what I'm going to do in the next video. So I've done 2 tools, but I may continue to do it as 2 tools for each video. But in between doing the tools, as I said in some of the previous videos, I will in between do a channeling of each of the different Greek pantheon. So I have a list what I will start from, which I will also read to you all, which is a list of a lot of A4 paper based writings that I've done. So I won't clean my glasses this time because I wiped them once, and I think it'd be silly to wipe them more than once unless they are that dirty and they're that dusty and they're that filthy. But I think we may be all right this time. So, according to the information I found out to get the information accurate, and it took me a long time to get this, and this list is very, very long, so I'm not going to do that. And I got a total of, and you will not believe how many gods and goddesses I got, whether lesser or whatever, but I ended up with a total of 116 different gods and goddesses, which is a lot of different gods and goddesses. That's way too many. But some pantheons do have plenty more than others. But of course, obviously, first on the list is obviously Zeus, and I class him from mythology and that as the supreme ruler because he did defeat Cronus. And there is another version of that same name with a H in it, which is Cronus, because we get where we get the word chronology from, which is their spellings are slightly different. I will explain that when I channel those particular gods, but we'll get to that in a later video. So in the next video, I'm hoping to, not necessarily tonight, hopefully maybe tomorrow, I don't know yet. What I'm going to do to make it fair, as there's 116, which is an even number, because it's not something like 17 or 23, 123, which would be an odd number. What I'm going to do is, because I've done 2 types of tools in this video, which seems to be the ongoing plan, how my head is thinking this through, I'm going to also I'm going to channel more than one god, but because obviously the pantheon works out that there's a god, then a goddess, I'm going to do it that way, and I'm going to do it from the way my list works out. So obviously, not only will after I've channeled Zeus, I will be channeling his sister and his wife, because that's how the ancient people used to do things, get with someone who's a relative, a cousin or a sister or a brother. So although in today's society it might be a Christian thing mainly, probably, or a religious thing, but in this modern society and in the days of the Victorian era and beyond, and before the First World War, some people thought of it as immoral and call it incest when you get with someone who is supposed to be when you get with someone who is within and you get sexual or intimate with them, and they're a family member, another family member, so either a married family member, so your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, whatever, your own father, your own mother, which is quite, those are a bit too far to me, but or your own sister or your own brother, or some cousins or something, or an aunt or uncle, they would have classed that as incest. It's a word that really I don't agree with. Actually, to be honest, I've realised as I've gotten older that I do not like. So there is that. But again, it'll be two higher beings, and up till we get to exactly number 116, and then, so as I do two tools, I will then channel to a two deities, and what the first one will be the god, and then it'll be a goddess, because that's how the way. Well, I will be going by my list. I mean, there are some more gods than in some parts of the list there's goddesses more than there are gods, and vice versa. So it really does depend on how my list goes. But I'm going to do at least two deities, because as I said in one of the I think the first three previous videos, or one of the previous three videos, that when it comes to doing after I've done, it was going to be one tool, but as I've done two, I would channel a god or a goddess. So that's what I'm going to do in the next video. I'm going to do a god and a goddess, which is obviously first Zeus and then Hera. And for Zeus, for the channeling for Zeus, I'm going to use the altar here in the living room. And then when it comes to channeling Hera, what I'm going to do is use the altar in the bedroom, because I don't actually have a similar statue to the ones you've seen, which is obviously Zeus and Pan, that are on the altar in the living room here at the moment. And I don't obviously have, but I do have a representation, which is my personal representation when I first started with the other altar, and that was the altar in the bedroom. That was what I used. That's what I use at the moment still for the representation of Hera. So I will explain that to it when it comes to the channeling video, and when we get to actually channeling Hera. And I do believe magically and pagan wise and spirituality wise that I am psychic, because I do use tarot cards and other cards such as oracle cards and things like runes. I mean, I have my own kind of type of variation of the runes, or at least things that I use as runes, but I don't actually have actual runes or even witches' runes. I also use crystal balls. Now I will, but I haven't actually done any actual psychic readings for anyone yet. But I am, and I've started. I do want to start working as a spiritual healer. So again, I do have Facebook. I have never put it in the links. My Facebook or my Instagram or my Snapchat. I don't have Twitter anymore, because I was pleased to get rid of that, but I ended up getting Snapchat back, and I really did not want it back, and I still do not, but I have it now, again, at the moment. I no longer have Grindr, and I won't go into that right now, but I do have another one that I mentioned before when I mentioned the Grindr app, which I no longer have, as I said, which is called Hornet, and another one I recently downloaded since since I no longer have Grindr, and there's a reason why I don't have it, but I will not go into that right now because it's private and personal. And it's called Chappy. Now, it is like Hornet again. It is a gay dating app. And I have on both of those accounts, I do have my name as spiritual healer, and that's what I believe I am, in not just bringing people into perhaps a more pagan-based spirituality and other spirituality paths and available to them, but also I actually want to do healings on a spiritual level. So not just readings, but channeling different gods and goddesses to do the healing, or whatever the healing might consist of. And it may be a massage to start the healing off with. But I want to only do it. Now this may sound sexist, but it is not intended that way. But I want to do it only in the rainbow flag, shall we say, community. So at least I'm trying to plan it, but my brain is thinking, well, let's do the massage first, even if the client does not want to wants to be completely naked or not. Just do the although I'm not trained as a masseur, I can just offer a gentle and just a general gentle, if you wish, an all over body massage. There are some massages that I won't be able to do because I am not trained in how to do them, and I don't want to put your body at risk, but I can give you just a gentle all over body massage, a basic gentle all over body massage. So if you want that, you will have to take your clothes off, but I'm afraid I'm not being sexist, and I'm not being nasty anyway, but I'm afraid The only members of the LGBTQ, etc., IA, I think, etc., whatever it is, whatever all the letters are, please comment and tell me what all the, when you subscribe and if you like the video, please leave a lovely comments, positive comments, and only like the videos, do not dislike them, as I have said before. But please do, if you do know what the full initial, the rainbow flag full initials are, from L to whatever the last letter might be, please do let me know, and say what each letter is. Say for L for lesbian or something like that. And then G for gay, B for bisexual, T for transgender, and so on, and whatever the rest of the letters are, because I would actually like to know what all the proper letters are and the word, each letter stands for. I mean, I only know LGBT, so what the extra letters are, I'm afraid I do not know. But if you do know the full letters, then please in the comments below for the video, please let me know. If I really like them and they're really positive, I will give them the little heart thing that the owners of the channels can do, and I will reply to them and I will say thank you. So yes, but I won't be serving, I'm afraid, and I hope this isn't taken offensively, and I'm really not being offensive, but because I am a gay man, which means I am a homosexual, which means I like only physically and sexually find only men attractive, whether they are, the men are straight, trans, gay or bisexual themselves. But I do not, I'm afraid to say, and I hope women, that even trans women and full natural binary and non-binary ladies or women, even if they don't call themselves that, but or at least non-binary people have a female physical body, which not a lot of my non-binary people still do, and I'm aware that you do still have a physical body of a binary body, but I am aware that you don't actually class yourself as either male or female, energy-wise or whatever. But I won't be serving or doing these massage and healing. Well, the massage part I won't offer to lesbians, because as I said, I do not find women, even trans women, I'm afraid, I do not find women with the boobs and the boobs, vagina, etc., the whole full-bodied woman, I'm afraid I do not find it physically attractive. I mean, I will accept it for goddesses and feminine energy, and when I dress up in drag, I pretend I literally believe myself to be a woman, and I am a woman when I'm in drag, but that's as far as I take it. I don't take it as far as, I mean, and I'm not going to wear a blindfold just to massage someone if they want an all-over body massage. I'm sorry, but that's not, it's just not the kind of person that I am, and I hope, as I said, the lesbian community, and the straight women as well, and trans women as well, and other women, or feminine-bodied women, people, do not take that offensively. I mean, if you are moderately anatomically from here up here, and maybe down below, a male or a man, then I will obviously give you a full body massage, but a gentle one, but that's all will be. And then we'll look at where the areas are that you need healing spiritually. But as I said, for the lesbian community, there will be no all over body massage. And for everybody else, including the lesbian community, there will be no Indian head massages, because although I've had one myself and it was a very magical experience, again, it's not an area I'm trained in. Again, also, the other massages I will not offer, which is a variation of an all-over body massage, especially for a lot of gay men get. I mean, some straight men also go and have one, can have it as well. And it is mostly to do with the anal area. It's a type of massage, but you can give it as an all-over body massage as well, but I will not, because I'm not trained in how to do it, which is the Tantric Massage. It is a beautiful and magical, again, like the Indian head massage, but it's not, again, it's not a massage I've been trained in, but I will give you a gentle all-over body massage, and that's all I will give you, guys, that are actual physical based men from here onwards. I'm not worried about your in-between bits. If you are a trans man, that doesn't matter. As long as you don't have breasts, then if you've had your breasts removed, then as far as I'm concerned, even if you've still got the scars out to show you've had your breasts removed, then you are anatomically that way, you are a man for me, and it does not bother me if you still do have a vagina in between your legs. But anyway, so those, and then obviously, as I said, from that, after the massages, we will, if you're in the group that wants to have a spiritual spiritual healing, but you're not in the group that I massage, or for the all over body massage too, then I will start straight away going into working on and looking at the areas where you need spiritual healing, and then working on that. But for everybody else, I've just mentioned about, I will do the full body massage if you want it. If you don't, if you do not, that really is your choice again. But after the massage, I will work on, we'll look at the areas that you need spiritual healing in, and I will then work on that with you by channeling and maybe possibly doing a reading, and finding ways to help cleanse maybe your chakras, or maybe your aura, or perhaps cleanse your karma, or whatever it may be. Even if it may be helping you cast a spell, your first spell, even if it is a protection spell, that may be a spiritual healing for you that you may need, and how to cast a spell. So that might give you a healing in a way. There's many things spiritually that give us a healing that we don't all know about. And to be able to have the opportunity to work with someone who can guide you through that, I think is a wonderful opportunity. So if it exists, do take it. But obviously I will say this to everybody who wants the spiritual healings, whether they consist of a massage or not, I will charge for them. So that is something I haven't decided on the price. I have not as yet decided on the prices, because obviously I am going to at some point need my first client. So when I get my first client, I can then decide on a price, and decide how, from there decide depending on what you obviously want, then that will be, I'll include that all in the price range when I do a price range, of list of prices. But I'm going to obviously need a first client to effectively, I hope you'll be okay with this term, but be my guinea pig, and or so thus practice this on and see how the spiritual healing goes and works out. So I will need first few practice clients, if you will. But obviously you will have to pay, because although it will be my first time doing it, and I may be very, very nervous, I just want you to know that it is there and it is available, and you can have it if you need it. So yes, that would be wonderful. And so obviously also that's all I really wanted to say. I am going to just say one more thing, which I really don't want to say, but I'm going to have to. I had a reading, not a tarot card reading or any other kind of card reading, but I did have a psychic reading the other day, recently when I was in Glastonbury, and where I got the new dragon incense burner from, and she did a reading with using runes and the proper consecrated Viking runes. Now she had 3 different choices of types of wood that they were made from, and they were ethically sourced woods as well, so that was really lovely. And I chose, you had to choose out of one of the 3 bags of what type of wood you felt that she should use for you. And you're supposed to choose 9 different runes, and I ended up choosing 7. So it was, I do have a 7-pointed star, so 7 is more my number than, say, 9, although 9's not bad, it's only 3 numbers, it's another 2 numbers long, so I didn't do too bad. She cut, and then obviously so the chosen rune, she turned them over so I couldn't see what they were, and I picked them out, and I chose some various runes. I can't remember what they all were. She got a lot of things about me right from the reading, and what, and my situation, where I am and stuff, and spirituality developing and that kind of thing, pathways and things, and teaching and going the spiritual healing side of things. And then she said something about, just because I like to have a lot of baths or showers or washes, and I do like how a bath, it is quite, how a bath is very relaxed. Sometimes showers or a wash can be quite relaxing, or a shave sometimes if you're, but she said that she felt that water was my main element. Now, for me, that is total BS, or bullshit, as I prefer to say. Because, with this, and even if I was a Wiccan or a Druid and I wore a pentagram, which is the opposite to this, which only has 5 points on it, which represents 5 elements instead of 7, and is not anything to do with the higher self, like the septagram or elven stars, that's another name for it. So I work with all of them, and I do not have a specific favourite element. So yes, it cost me £45, that wasn't too expensive, I thought, but anyway, paid her directly, but anyway, but I just felt that she got a little bit about me wrong, but being that water is my element, So I focus mainly on, first of all, Poseidon, as he's supposed to be the god of the seas, and then obviously his former, the former god of the seas, of course, which obviously was Oceanus, who was a Titan, but the god of the seas before Poseidon, and focus on both those two, because obviously they're spiritually related to me through Zeus and Hera, and so on. And obviously, there, and I felt that maybe, yes, that, because the psychic also said that she would, I'm not going to name her name because I've forgotten her name anyway, and I did get take a card or a leaflet thingy, but anyway, I won't name names because that's not what YouTube is about. It's not about naming and shaming, although there are times when you should, even on YouTube, name and shame people, but I'm not going to do that in this video because I want to try and keep it as positive as possible and not make it too negative. So anyway, so she also felt that she thinks that I should, when it comes to me moving on from perhaps me moving away from Bristol, because I do want to move away from Bristol because I've lived here since I was a knee-high to a grasshopper, although I was not born in Bristol. I was born in Bath. She said she felt that I should, or I would be, either I should be, or I would move somewhere near to the sea. But I don't know what that, I think her spirit guide was getting it wrong for some reason or whatever, was not picking up and not connecting to my spirit guides properly, and so on and so forth. So I thought that it wasn't a complete waste of time, but for the bit she got wrong, as far as I'm concerned, I should have been she should have took at least a £5 or £10 or more off, even a good 20 quid or maybe 60 quid, maybe that would have been even better. But anyway, but I felt that she did get some bits about me wrong. I know it was only one bit, but there was something, a couple of bits that she got a little bit wrong. And I mean, I do love the seaside, and it is there relaxing by, when you go away to holiday to a beach, whether it's either Cornwall or Devon or Torquay or Weymouth or somewhere around Dorset Way, or somewhere like that, or even maybe Brighton, which I've never been to, but or somewhere in Wales like Tenby, or down to the bay at Cardiff. But that does not mean, just because I find these areas by the sea and water, things to do with the water and things like that relaxing, I do not believe, and I'm afraid and I will say this again, I do not believe or feel that my own spiritual guides, which are mainly animal guides, even if they are animals connected with water, are telling me that water is my specific element. Because I do work with all seven. So I work with air, earth, fire, metal, space, time, and of course water. But I do not work with only one element. And I do not have, and I'm going to be honest here, I do not have a favourite element. So for a psychic to get that, I don't know where they got that from. I really don't. Even if their spirit guide was getting it, and if their spirit guide or animal guides or whatever guides they go with, or their own guardian angels or whatever, was getting that, or whatever being they were channeling, somehow they got that wrong. So that's why, as I said, when I came home, after I'd sorted myself out and had a bit of relaxation or whatever, and I focused and channeled on Poseidon and Oceanus, and maybe some of their wives, both of their wives, and the goddesses of the sea as well, and any other sea life creatures such as nymphs and other things like that. And I did not really feel that, I generally did feel that psychic did get that a little bit wrong. So I didn't feel that, I mean, I may personally, maybe somewhere in the future in my retirement or whatever, when I'm old enough to retire, which won't probably be till I'm like 100 anyway, because the way they keep changing the retirement age, the government here in the UK, they go, oh, they're just nuts. So anyway, so maybe in my, future, and maybe in my retirement, I may want to, in my retirement, maybe move somewhere near the seaside, but where I am now and how that the situation I'm in for the moving side of things is, I'm not going to be able to financially afford to move to the sea yet. But I do not feel that the sea is seaside maybe is somewhere I'm going to necessarily move to. I mean, I've had family that have lived right in those places as well, and I've gone on family holidays or holiday there, or gone down there visiting or whatever, but I don't feel that, as I said, I believe that I work with not just only one element, I work with all of them. And also, I just don't have a favourite element, and not only that, I do not feel that yet, because my retirement's going to be quite a long way into the future and off yet, so at least probably 2100 and something, maybe, I don't know, when I'm probably 100 years old or maybe a bit older, but I do not feel that I'm going to as yet be able to move to somewhere at the seaside. Oh, wish orange juice was not double strength, even when it's warm or cold. But I do believe that you know, the seaside is just at the moment not for me yet. But anyway, so yeah, I wanted to share that with you as well. So I'm coming towards the end of the video. I know there's no music this time, and I do apologise, but I didn't know what my relaxing meditation CDs I felt you would be all okay with to listen to as I'm talking. But maybe in the next one I'm doing a channeling, I may feel that there's one that's appropriate. But anyway, light, positivity, and blessings to you all, and I will see you in in our channeling video.